subscribers, welcome to another amazing service in the Kingdom Tribe. Today is the last Sunday, and we've been having different parts in the series of wealth, and we're having different conversations with amazing guests. And I hope you've been enjoying the service so far. If you haven't, please make sure to share to other people, share the link so that other people can be a part of this. My name is Precious Ochaya, and today we are also going into another amazing topic: God, goals, and the grind. And of course, I won't be doing this alone. I have with me the co-host for the service today.
Yeah, my name is Gabriel Ogundele. Hey, I'm super excited to be here because this topic is one that really we need to talk about in this time and dispensation, because this generation tends to miss those three words, and having to work smart, having to work hard, and where really balancing does God come into the picture. So I'm excited.
I am too. So yes, of course, we have a guest today that will be going into the topic with us in the person of.
Okay, with Jesus Joy, with the ovation, heaven ovation, because this one I want many so to Christ. So today we'll be having with us Mr. David Akimoyede, and he's a strategic marketing and communication leader with over 8 years, about a decade of experience driving growth, storytelling, and brand transformation across Africa. When I mean across Africa, not audio, really across Africa. So he has led, edited, and integrated campaigns in financial services, FMCG, tech travels, and the media, working with some of the continent's most dynamic organizations, including Post Africa, Wakana, Insight Redefini, PayPal, Techno Mobile, and Easy Money.
Wow.
He's a graduate of Rome Business School, where in hand an executive master in digital marketing and business transformation. This man, this dude, this guy combines creativity, data, and strategy to build purposeful brands and inspire meaningful engagement. Aside this professional commitment, he's also committed to the kingdom, giving his excellent and purpose-driven leadership, transforming lives, and also reflecting this through creativity and strategy, and also putting in a lot of powerful tools to transform culture, to transform people, and most importantly, advancing God's kingdom. With Jesus Joy, let's welcome Mr. David Akimoyede.
I mean,
wow.
Who wouldn't be joyous? That was such a long read.
Wow. Even me, I was surprised. Like,
And
that's my
you're
profile.
surprised?
Like, really? Wow. Thank you so much,
That's
guys,
a
for
lot.
having
You're
me.
welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Wow.
The show. Like,
I mean, the first question should be, how did you do? You know, when you come out of school and you are applying for a job and they say you need to have like 10 years working experience. This is it. Is this people like this that make them to ask questions like this? It's amazing to have you.
thank you so much for having me. It's actually a privilege to be here. You know, having this kind of conversation, it's very important to have conversation like this, especially like for young people.
Yeah.
You know, conversation like this, it basically humanizes like our faith.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a big privilege to be here. Thank you.
Okay, so with Jesus Joy, with great pleasure,
I think
want
there's
us
so much
go
joy
right
to go around.
into it. Yes, I want us to go right into today's question. So my first question will be that, so as Christians, as believers, as kingdom ambassadors and representative of God here on earth, how do we know when our grind is God-led or it is ego-led? It is led by our own self-ambition, ego-led, or it is God-led? Yeah.
Okay. So, you know, I've actually had seasons where I was so busy doing that I didn't realize that I stopped listening. And the truth is that there's like a thin line between obedience and also obsession, right? So I've actually learned the difference, and the difference between God-led grind and ego-led grind is actually like the peace that comes from it, right?
Yeah.
So when something is actually God-led, there's direction, there's grace, and there's also alignment, even though it might be very tough because it might not even go the way you would actually expect it to go.
Yeah.
And however, there's like this quiet confidence that things actually turns out better, right? But when it's actually ego-led, it feels very forced, right? You start competing instead of like creating. You start comparing instead of serving. So I've actually had to, like, you know, learn to pause and ask the question that, if I keep doing these things, like if people stop clapping for this thing I'm actually doing,
Are you gonna
like
keep
am I
doing
actually
it?
doing it? So
Yeah.
if the answer is like, okay, people stop clapping, I'm still doing this thing, it means that it's actually God led.
Yeah.
Most of the times it's actually God led. But if people like, if I rely on like that validation to keep doing this thing, because obviously I want people to start clapping for me, like, oh, you're doing a great thing, then most of the times it always turns out to be ego led.
Wow. So I hear you say I hear you say obsession. I hear you say drive, because when you say when people clap for you and stuff like that. So now most people that are obsessed can mistake it for being ambitious.
Yes.
So my next question will be: can a Christian be ambitious without being worldly?
Deep.
So I 100% think that you can be super ambitious, because you having ambition is actually a good thing. It means that you have like direction. You actually have aspirations.
Yeah.
Like you actually want to achieve something. You want to get to a certain level. And I actually really believe that God wants us to be ambitious, right? But with the right posture.
Yeah.
So you see, ambition itself is not evil. It's actually neutral. And what matters is like what's fueling it and who it glorifies. So for me, I've actually had to, unlearn the idea that humility, like you being
humble.
Yeah, you being humble, it means that you have to be very small, right?
Yes.
And God is actually not intimidated by big dreams. So he just wants you to like put him at the center of whatever you are doing. So he wants you to just, as you're doing these things, always like put him at the center of it.
Yeah.
Don't just do it because you think you can do it, right?
Yeah.
There needs to be that God factor in anything you're
Anything that
doing.
you're doing.
So, and also like, kingdom ambition is when excellence flows from surrender, right? So it's like saying
Let's take that again. Let's take that.
Can you
again.
rewind?
kingdom ambition. It's actually it comes from a place when there is like a surrender,
Wow.
right? It's like saying that, Lord, I will show up fully,
Yeah.
but you define what success looks like.
Yeah.
So it's like you show up, you do the work, but like
then-
you just having like that good factor that define how you actually want these things
Give
to actually
everything all
to
to
go.
you.
Yeah. So because like sometimes what looks like success to men, right? It's not obedience to
Yeah,
God.
it's not obedience to
I
God.
look good, but
It's coming from a place of self, not from a place of surrender.
Yeah, I think that's just what he said.
Okay, so let me make this. Let me shake the table a little bit. So when you hear someone say, "I've been working for the past 3 days. I've been on missions several months. I've been to several parts of the world preaching the gospel without rests." You see people clap for them. We in this generation tends to glamorize burnout. And when you see someone saying that I'm going on a break, I need some time out, it sounds like they are backsliding. It sounds demonic to the
Like
ear.
you're slothful or something.
Yeah. So why is it that we glamorize burnout?
And
But
then
when someone say I'm going on a leave,
I'm going to rest. I
there's
need a break.
I need a break. Yes, that's the word. I need a break. We demonize people like that.
So sometimes like somewhere along the line, we started like confusing like busyness with purpose, right? And
Hey.
we wear like exhaustion
Wow.
like as a
Hey,
badge of
God.
honor.
Sorry, let's.
That's a lot to
I need
digest.
to-
Sorry.
let-
The funny part, I just wanted to move on.
You guys-
After saying that,
No. Let's take that in. Let's let that
Okay.
rest.
Okay, continue, sir.
All right. So, somewhere along the line, we actually started confusing like business with purpose. We wear exhaustion like a badge of honor. Like I haven't slept in 3 days. I'm always grinding.
Give me
But
medal.
if you think about it, that is not strength. That's actually imbalance.
Okay.
So I've been there. I think every high achiever or people that actually
Yeah.
like, you are very passionate about anything, you would actually get to that point,
Yeah.
where you just keep going and you don't prioritize rest. So, along the line, I've had like the Holy Spirit teach me that rest is actually not laziness. It's actually you trusting God that, okay, when I'm
We hear that
resting,
one.
God is actually working.
David, wait.
Rest
You are trained a whole lot
is not
of
laziness.
jabs,
Clock
a lot
that.
of blows
Did
that
you
you
hear?
need to take it easy. Rest is not what?
Laziness.
not
Rest is not
laziness.
I heard that
laziness.
one.
It's actually you trusting God.
I sure there's a part two. I not finish it. Is
Wow.
you trusting
Rest is not. Okay, let's move on.
So, when we talk about people working,
I'm actually not done there.
Oh,
Oh,
there's
oh,
still
really?
more.
There's
Oh,
still more,
bring
actually.
it on, bring it on.
So like when I say like you resting, is you just trusting God that I'm actually
Yeah.
resting and God actually takes control of this
Control.
thing, right?
Mhm.
So even Jesus actually slept through the storm. If you look at it in the Bible,
And
when
like the
Yeah,
world was
yeah,
crashing down. he was
exactly, he was sleeping. So that's like to show how important you just resting is. Even God, He created the heaven and the earth. He rested on the seventh day. So why we not prioritizing, you resting? Do you get? So I've actually learned to see rest as a discipline of faith. It's me acknowledging that I'm human, I'm not divine, right? So when I stop, God continues.
Wow.
Mm.
You know what? Just to add to that, last Sunday we were speaking with the university, and I know I mentioned something about watching a movie and seeing, and in that same movie, I see that that we know that Jesus or God came in human form, what in Jesus, but we still feel like there's some sort of divinity that was attached to that, like as if it was not really fully
fully human.
So watching that movie and seeing that Jesus had a cut on his hand, Jesus was tired, Jesus stretched, it just shows that he also rested, or he
Sure.
also actually
and there are some tiny details that even the scriptures didn't record, but
Yeah.
I'm very sure that Jesus used the restroom. Jesus, when he was when Jesus
Yeah.
was small, there were some guys that were throwing jabs at him.
Yeah.
I'm very sure that they bullied him when he was young. So apparently, Jesus gave us a template to how to live life.
Yeah.
Right?
Balancing it with the
Yeah,
kingdom.
give us a workbook and how to live life, not overlooking the human side of our life, but actually we need to rest. So that rest is a gift, and trusting God.
Yeah, like he would take care of
Yeah,
it.
he would take
So, but
care of it.
one thing I've noticed, especially we young people, most people that are actually not resting or getting burnt out, is not that they want to. It's just that they catch themselves in that circle, and before you know it, you just realize that the last time you rested was a long time ago. So now the issue is it that most people are actually hustling? We are grinding because of the fear of poverty. Or is it actually just purpose? Are we actually just chasing our purpose?
That is deep.
So you see this question you just asked me, I think it's very relative, right? Most people actually hustle because they are very passionate about, or let me speak from my own POV.
Okay.
I actually hustle because I'm actually very passionate about things I
Okay.
do. I mean, along the line, you would actually,
don't want to
anything
be
you are
poor.
doing, right? It's most likely it's going to lead to like
Getting
not even burnt out, like you making money from it.
Yeah, that's why I
or
said
you
getting rich, yeah.
getting rich actually. So I think most people actually also from the point of view of like you being super passionate about creating a solution to a particular problem.
Yeah.
I mean, the other like set of people too that they also because I mean they want to make money. I mean, let me give you a classic example. Because tech is booming right now. A lot of people want to go into tech because they want to make money
They will
from
know.
it. You get? However, but the reality is that when you're actually very passionate about solving a particular problem, there's no way. There is no way, because if you're passionate about something, you put all your thing into it. Like you go all in into that thing, and most likely, obviously, by God's grace, it's actually going to end up in a where you actually have fulfillment in what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, so I want to break the last leg we have on this table. And it's the fact that when your hustle now start paying and you're beginning to see success speaking for those hustle, how do you stay submitted to God when your success starts speaking louder than God's spirit?
That's a very deep one.
I told you I'm going to break the table.
That's a very deep one. So success has a voice, and if you're not intentional, it can actually drown you out. That's the reality. And for me, I've had to learn that submission doesn't automatically come with success. You have to like protect it. The more God lifts you, the more intentional you have to be about lowering yourself in His presence. So practically, I actually build rhythms that keep my ego in check, because the reality is that everybody has an ego. That's the reality,
Sure.
right? So you just need to actually put it in check. Again, we had this conversation earlier where we're talking about, ego-led grind and God-led grind.
God-led right.
Yeah. So, for example, no matter how busy or accomplished I feel, I still make time to pray privately and serve quietly. I try to do things where there's actually no applause. I do a lot of things. In fact, I don't know if I
You
should
don't
make
want to.
reference.
You don't want
Okay,
us to
I
applaud
don't
you.
want to make- I don't want to make references.
So let me make a reference
You know
to
what?
it that most of you watching this might not know that when we started the Kingdom Tribe, David was one of our founding members. He's still a member of the Kingdom Tribe. Even when he left, relocated outside the country, he was still doing a whole lot from
Of
where.
work, from where he was.
So that profile that I read, that is who he is. But behind the scene, he's grinding a lot for God.
See that? Just see what I just let it. You know, he said he doesn't want to lift himself, so he can lower it. So you know, as a professional that you are, do you think that the church is doing enough for professionals and not to just preachers? You know what I mean is we have conferences for ministers. We have ministers' conference. We have so many school of ministry, so many school for pastors, so many sermons, so many gatherings that has to do. What about those 9-to-5 hours, the startups, the content creators? Do you think that the church is creating enough avenue for these people to be equipped and, you know, to go forth?
So that's a very good question. I honestly think that the church has actually made great strides, and there's still like a significant gap that needs to be filled. That's the truth. But for a long time, we've actually treated ministry as something that only happens behind the pulpit, right? Forgetting that the pulpit is not just a piece of wood, and it's a platform of influence, right? So the average believer spends like far more time at work than in church. Right? Yet most discipleship models don't address the realities of that workplace. You understand? So we train pastors to preach, but we rarely train professionals to represent Christ in the boardroom, in studios, in the creative industries. So personally, I actually believe that our responsibility as kingdom professionals is to model what that integration looks like, to show that you can be excellent, ethical, and also spirit-led without being churchy.
Without being churchy.
Right.
What do you mean by churchy? So that we are clear. So
you and I, we know what it means to like be
how
churchy.
do you know that
like,
me and you know? You know.
So it's not about being a church goer, right? It's about being a disciple.
Yes.
I just wanted confirmation.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
sorry, I want to end this.
Okay, please.
So that is why conversations like this, it matters. Like the church must actually begin to see every believer as a missionary, right? So whether you're in tech, you're in fashion, you're in media, you're in finance, or you're in education, discipleship has to evolve from just Bible study, in quotes, to also, include purpose training, emotional intelligence, and also leadership formations.
Wow.
This is tight. Purpose training, emotional intelligence, and leadership. So I think one of the things that the church has done over time is to move beyond the conventional way of preaching, the conventional sermon notes, focus on the heaven goal. I
mean, it's the goal.
Heaven is the goal, but we are here. So I think the church over time has evolved. Our parents' ministry, the Truth of Calvary ministry, have done a whole lot on that. Yeah. We have the Success Leadership and Success Leadership and Business School, and it's a very, very nice place where we dissect the kingdom here on earth. And the Kingdom Tribe too, we've done a whole lot of grind. I love that word.
You can check our website.
Yes, we've done a lot of grind.
I think there was a time we had the career masterclass, business masterclass. And I think this is a conversation that should not just only be in the Kingdom Tribe. It should actually expand
to the body of Christ.
Beyond our screens.
Yes.
I have just one question for you. In everything you said, it looks like I want to believe that you are not really just being busy. You're actually, chasing purpose. And because you said something that you actually realize at the point that you've not really been following the direction that God has been leading. So right now, as it stands, if God asked you to lay everything down now that you are doing, would you do it?
That's a very... it's a very serious question because you like working so hard to build stuff, like building something very meaningful. Then you getting that instruction that you need to put it down. I don't think it's a easy decision to make.
It's
regardless
not
of where. It's not wherever you are, in terms of your relationship with God. But the truth is that it's going to be very hard, right? Not because I love the work more than God, but because that so much of what I've built has purpose, right, attached to it, right? So you start to see it as part of your identity, part of your obedience. So when God says lay it down, it's almost like it feels like he's undoing what he has asked you to start. Right? So, but the beauty of it is that it's a test. It is a test of your stewardship. So the moment that I think about something can't survive without me, I've actually stopped being a steward, or I start acting like
true.
I'm the source of it, right?
Yeah.
So what will I do? I would actually lay it down. That's just the truth. Because I've learned that when God actually asks you to do something, it's actually a test for something even much more bigger than what you currently have. So you just have to like be obedient. In the end, you just have to be obedient about it. So I would rather be fun available than being accomplished in something that is no longer breathing on. So just put it down.
That is no longer breathing on. Wow.
Punchline.
You know, he said something to say, you acknowledge that is your source. And you know, that's one thing that our overseer always says, that's for you to always put it at the back of your mind that God is the source. So, I mean, if you have that, I always think about that, you know, it's beyond those 4 words. It's beyond God is the source. You have to go back and be like, why would you even come to this conclusion that God is your source? There has to be something, you know, deeper about it. I remember I have a cousin that's a pastor. She was also an influencer, built up her Instagram page, built up a community of women. She connects buyers to buyers. She had like almost 100K. And it was not even about the 100K. She had so much engagement. She had a community of, when I mean women in Lagos, in Port Harcourt, in Abuja. And one day, it was like, stop doing it. And transfer that entire page, because she's a pastor, she's married to a pastor, to your ministry page. And I feel like that's the hardest. I've seen her pack up her load from Lagos, move to Port Harcourt, to Benin to start a ministry with her husband. I've seen her when God says, move from Benin to Port Harcourt with your husband, go and start a fresh ministry. I've seen that, but it was not as difficult as close down your Instagram, close down your influencing gigs, and start afresh, you know, changing it back to Pastor this. You are changing from imagine just changing the AI to Pastor Gabriel daily, and you have to start posting faith-based. I know that, you know, when God gives some instructions, sometimes it's always very, very, very difficult. But yes, at the end of the day, she did it and she came back to tell the story. Was it difficult for her to adjust?
Yes.
Yeah, it was. It took several months to come back to even posting on that page. It took her a whole lot to do it. But right now, if you go on her page, that's what she's doing. And there is a sense of peace that has now come with it for her. There's a sense of purpose that this is exactly what you should be doing at this time. Yeah.
So for me, I've had to take some decisions that it was later that I understood the reason why God had to make me take such decisions.
Exactly.
And one of the things that the overseer will always say, Dr. Lumide Emmanuel, is that life is lived forward, but understood backwards. But when you look back to moments after, weeks after, days after, months after, years after, decade after you take those decisions, you will say, no, it is worth it. And when you say something about letting it all go, not looking back. That can be very hard.
To not look back.
Abraham did it. I still wonder how a man, God gave you a son at that age, and you had to let go without looking back. Lot's wife couldn't do it. He had to look back.
The fact that Lot didn't even look back at his wife is a lot.
It's a lot for Lot not to look back at his wife. It's a lot. But that true scenario made me understand letting go, even when it seems difficult or impossible to do. And attachments that we build around the things that God asks us to do is another thing that makes it hard for us not to let go. So when you're building something, and I'm saying this to someone, when you're building something, where God asks you to build something, don't put a personal attachment to it, because God is the source and He can at any point in time ask you to leave it and move on to something else. So don't put a personal attachment to it. Let the attachment to it be on purpose. Let your source be God, and stay faithful and stay focused on what God has asked you to do.
Thank you so much, Tribers. I'm sure if you stayed through the service, of which, I mean, from the beginning of the service to the end, it has been like we keep elevating into different levels. So please do not go yet. The service is not over. We will be closing now, but just stay tuned and share as much as you can. And please, you can always come back to our website to rewatch the sermon as many times as possible. There's so much punchlines from this sermon. You just cannot listen to it just once. And thank you very much, and see you next week.
Welcome back. How was the conversation? It was intense. I'm happy that we have conversations like this. We need to know how to prioritize, where to place God, where to place our grind, also where to place our goals. But the most important part of it is to prioritize God, place God at the center of everything. And our guest spoke about that. I enjoyed when he many of the things that he said, and he said that God is not intimidated by big dreams. He's not intimidated by our visions, our goals, and all of that. He just wants us to put him at the center. And if you put God at the center of these things, everything becomes balanced, right? Bible says that we should seek God first and his righteousness, and every other thing that we so desire will happen, will come to pass. Also, he said that there needs to be a God factor in everything that we do. And as young Christians, because of the social media culture, we want to sometimes put God in the back seat of our conversations, right? But the God factor is important. Everybody needs to know that there's a God factor. There's the hand of God at work in your life at every point in time. He also said that kingdom ambition comes from the place of surrender. And that's one thing that I'm also finding out myself. No matter how much you hustle, no matter how much you run, helter-skelter, when you surrender to God, when you surrender to him, he reveals things to you and he helps you pursue the kingdom. Then finally, it says that what looks like success to men sometimes might not be obedience to God. So as a child of God, you need to understand what is success, what is obedience. You can be successful and be in alignment with God, but at the same time, it's not every success that is obedience. So we need to understand that. That was amazing. I hope your notes were full, because mine were full. And like I said at the beginning, you need to go back to watch the replay. You also need to go back to check your notes and see what to stop doing, what to start doing, what to keep doing. And may God help us as we do that. So we are drawing closer to the end of the service. And if you have a testimony, please put your testimonies in the chat. We want to know what God is doing for you. We want to know what God is doing through you. We want to know how wonderful God has been to you. So put it in the chat and you inspire somebody. If you have a prayer request, you can fill the form on our website. Fill your prayer request and a minister will reach out to you. I pray that God will answer our prayers in the name of Jesus. We will be giving our tithes and our offerings right now, and the account number is on your screen. So it is important to give, and not just to give, but to give cheerfully, because God loves a cheerful giver. And I pray that God will bless our finances abundantly in the name of Jesus. And we are moving to the end, which is one of my favorite parts of this, and it is the creed. So repeat after me as we recite the creed. I am an ambassador of the kingdom, chosen, ordained, and sent on a mission to light up my world with love and hope and live out my purpose and assignments. I am empowered to dominate and rule, to bring men to the knowledge of God, to guide them with the light of gospel truth, and lead them on to eternal relevance. I am an entity powered by divinity, ordained to live and reign in eternity. My life and actions reflect my identity. I am a Kingdom Tribes being. We'll see you next service.